Hallo, ich bin's, die Birgit. Hi, I'm Birgit, the owner from the Wishing Thorn, and I'm back with another Flosstube. I think it's Flosstube number 7, I think. Not 100% sure. I didn't look before I started. I'm off by a week because I tried to get back on the Tuesday rotation because before I had to, with the workers in the house, I had to do a Friday, and Friday for some reason doesn't work well for me, so I'm back to Tuesdays, and I don't think we're going to be too long today. I have some works in progress that actually made some progress. Couple of older things, nothing major antique-y. Some haul, some books, and some threads, 2 kinds of threads. I'm still continuing my my search for linen threads, and I got the Londonderry in. I'm going to show you that shortly. And there is also Anchor is making a linen thread that I'm waiting for it to arrive, so we'll see how that one is. For information, there's a couple of you, well, there's quite a few, that needed update. The Tyndale Sister Kit, I just got back, I heard back from Meg, and they were having an update on the dye lots of the thread. So there was some change and they had to go through a dye lot fixing. I'm assuming it has to do with regulations or something like that. So she assured me that they would ship this week. So I have the fabric for the Tyndale Sisters, but not the threads. And for the ones waiting for, Eliza Jane, I have the threads, but not the fabric. And gosh, I hope it's going to be here this week or next. If you want just your chart and the threads sent earlier, just shoot me an email, and we can arrange that, and I'll just send you the fabric later. That's entirely up to you. And speaking of the flower thread people, Ginny, Miss Meg from Ginny Thompson, I had I knew she was her daughter, but I didn't know how all it came to be because that was before my time in the US when this all started. So she gave me a little history, and she said, sure, I can share it with you. And I just wanted to read you that little paragraph because I found it quite interesting. And I'm really glad I like those threads so much. And sorry about the noise. Ken and Ginny Thompson were my parents. They started producing the first kits for Ginny Thompson Originals in a line called Polly's Island. Polly Island Originals? Hope I pronounced that correctly. In my upstairs bedroom at the house on Murrells Inlet in the fall of 1974 when I went away to college. In later years, they produced kits, leaflets, books, and original designs, and were run ragged keeping up with demand. Ginny Thompson Originals early on became the primary distributor of the DMC Article 1117 in the US, and in the 80s developed Ginny Thompson Flower Thread. Mom fell in love with the organic matte colors, which I adore so much, of the Danish flower thread, and for a while my folks tried to become the US distributor for that line, but the Danish Handcraft Guild was and is a school, not a commercial operation, and had no interest in gearing up production to meet the burgeoning, that's a word I don't know, sorry guys, demand for their thread here in the US. Mom was very good friends with the principals of the guild, and they encouraged her to create the line of flower thread of her own and offered their color palette as a basis. Mom made a number of changes that made Ginny Thompson Flower Thread uniquely hers. The Flower Thread Company is the last vestige of Ginny Thompson's original, and my husband and I hope to keep it going into the future. How cool is that? In her bedroom, no less, started. That's a lovely story on how it all came to be. I find that really charming. And I do love their threads. She has a website. You can order on the website, and stores carry it too, or starting to carry it more again now, which is really good. And speaking of a little bit older and vintage, so the oldest little thing I came across, I'm coming across all this stuff because I'm packing up things, so it's actually hitting home a little in about 5 weeks, first week of July, 5-6 weeks. We're going to be, you know, driving and go checking out some houses and see how that goes. So we'll see. And, well, I'm ready. No, I'm not ready. Never ready. I love it here. I really do. Connecticut is a very beautiful place. However, Connecticut is financially not a very beautiful place. Their entire retirement financial situation is really bad. And property taxes, they're basically a mortgage again every month. So a mortgage payment. So you're basically paying double to, you know, keep up with the property taxes. So that's not even, you know, right nor feasible. So anyways, back to fun stuff. So I found my mom's little pin keep that she made eons ago. Look at this. Is that not cute? It's an adorable little girl, and you can open her little dress, and she's got little felt things for pins. I think that's so adorable. And the little shoes with the lace. She must have made it in school or something. That must have been like a little project they'd done, because I don't know if my mom would have been the frou-frou kind that would have done something that cute unless she had, so she would have probably just cut some squares out. Practical as she was, it said, oh, this is good, but I really adore this. Love it. And a couple of other little needle rolls. Do you remember Shepherd's Bush had like the entire line of needle rolls? I gave some of them away as gifts, and I only have 2 left, and this one lost its charm, so I have to put something here. But these are really, you know, the little lace. They are so fun. And these are actually easy to put together. You've got a little bit of hem stitch going on here at the edge, right there. And then you just, you know, stitch your little square into a roll, and it doesn't even, you know, fit the whole thing, but that's okay. So that's this one. And then the purple one, I actually have to wash this because I've noticed it's yellowed up a little bit, but how delicate is this? So this is the purple. Also fun. Ooh, what's that? Fuzz. Okay. So they go around the whole thing except the back. And same principle again, you know, little stitch here to make an edge, some ribbon, and you have a little pin cushion. So these are very, very sweet. This was the garden roll, the green one. I don't remember what this was. But if you go to Shepherd's Bush website, you'll see the needle rolls. They call them needle rolls, and I'm sure stores, they're, as far as I know, they're still out there. They come, many of them, as a little kit, which is really kind of cute if you go traveling. But they're also very nicely displayed if you have like multiples to go into a little basket or something. So in order to show you the works in progress, let me see if I can hold this up. Probably not. So this is for all the ones that are in the mystery sampler. Yeah, this is going to be see-through. So let me flip the camera and we'll do it the way we're used to. One moment. Okay, so this is the upper part of my mystery sampler. I restitched it, you know, to stitch along with everyone else because it's been a while. And the one that I completed originally, you know, is a totally different color scheme. So many of those are stitching that. This is just I'm using what I have in my stash for this. So there's now the next part right here, which is this, and then there's another row. I haven't finished that yet, and it's just a little pulled work and herringbone and some regular stitching, the gouache stitch, more pulled work, fake black work. I call it fake black work because I don't stitch it, you know, in black work to make it reversible. Life's too short for that. And, you know, that's the top. And this is going to be, you know, quite long by the time we're done. But it's not very wide. It's like, what, 8 inches maybe wide? So it's a very manageable, and it sits on my little scroll frame. So I prefer to stitch with scroll frame, as you know. And then Elizabeth Hepper has made some progress. So she, let me unscroll her here. So she's down to the last bit. So it's going to come around here and up, and there's like a little basket, the cartouche, a little basket, and she's done, you know, and her name obviously in here. Let me unroll her. And you might remember she was the one that was sagging a little bit in the frame. I think that was like one of my first floss tubes. When she's done, I'll pull them out together again. So, and she is stitched in DMC. So, I hope to have that done like this week or next. And this is another scroll frame, but I love this one. I don't know if you can I got these on Amazon in various sizes, and what I love so much is like you can just clamp in your fabric, nothing fancy, and it holds tight in there, and you're done. And they come in different lengths, and they work, you know, they adapt well to, I mean, these are my oh, what are these? These are my Case Creations from way back when, lap stands. And, you know, these scroll frames actually fit in there. They make their own knobs, so they fit in there quite nicely. So the sidebars, this part is from me, but this part and this part's from the company that I found on Amazon. And I don't know if there's others who make them, but I bought like a set with 3 or 4 different sizes, and I think I got another one because they are so handy to have. So let me hold it close so you can see. It's just regular. There is, I don't remember, but I think there is absolutely 0 over 1 with her. And she's also a nice little small sampler. Then while we're at that, let me grab some. This little gal, I had like a vote going on in my Facebook group, who's next, because I'm charting right now a couple of larger samplers, and it gets tiring after a while. So I always like to do something simple. So let me just show you. This is the back. So this was held in with just a little half-broken wooden board. Let me show you. I still have it here. I actually kept it because I think... So they took a piece of a crate and then stuck it in and nailed this bit in. And it is something French in there. So the crate obviously was French. The sampler is from England, so but no idea of its origin. I haven't done any research. So, and they did a cute little job with, you know, the way they strung her across here. That's pretty good. I mean, these are all breaking now because it's so old. So for her, the plan is I'm going to reuse everything. I'm just going to wrap this frame in a good fabric and then attach her to it, put some spacers in the front with some good glass, and call it done. And she's going to be released. The pattern's done, so I'm going to release her tonight when I send out the emails, and it's Sarah Horrocks Cox, November 1st, 1838. And this is just really pretty. It's just alphabets, big row eyes, doubled up alphabets, large, small. This right here is over 1, the lowercase of this right here, but I was able to, so I have a row made in the pattern where the name and the date and everything is stitched over 2, so you basically can just, you know, use that. It'll be part of the chart. So, but it's very, very adorable, and I love the little frame. So pretty. And this is actually not exactly black. I charted it in, it looks darker here than it actually is. It is more brownish black. So I charted it in DMC 3021, but pretty much you could stitch it in red, in whatever color you want, blue, black. And then this is the other one, which is also another one for my miniature sampler collection. I just love miniature samplers, so this one is like, it's very itty bitty. And this is Grace Jarvis. She's still complete in her frame, nothing's done. Board school in Feldstedt, also 1880. And I love this, but this is, can you see how tight this fabric is? Compared to, this is a much finer fabric compared to when you, let me grab the other one real quick, how open this weave is compared to here. It's quite the difference. I like this one a lot. I think it's because it's square, it's an unusual shape. Yeah, granted, she doesn't have everything picture perfect in you know, laid out, but I still like it. And it's still closed on the back. I'm going to keep it that way for now because this is just fine the way it is. I'm actually looking in here and it looks like there is. See, if these people were really genius, like this right here could just as easily, you know, be used as a spacer the other way around. If there was like a ridge for the glass to sit, that would work. But we'll get it. I love this one. It's so clean and fresh, doesn't need a thing. Looks like it was just done yesterday, not over 100 years ago. So that's those two. So I'm gonna put these back real quick. Back on the wall, one moment. Then I want to show you some of the things before we go checking out more. So these are some, and let me just grab some of the colors because some of the colors are really pretty. So this is the Londonderry. It's the 83, and it is the linen threads. And I love what I've got so far. I don't have all the colors yet. I do one. There is not a ton of them, but there is a lot. And the thread is actually a fine enough thread. You could use it. Let me grab some of this. So let me put it on here and compare it to a single strand of floss. Do I have a single strand of floss? And it's not too knobby. So this would probably be really, let me get it up there so everybody can see it. So they're very similar in thickness. I tried, you know, stitching with one strand, and it works really well. I went up to 36. I don't know if you're like on super fine count what it will do. So it is pretty decent. And there is one pattern that you guys haven't seen that I'm not going to show you because surprise. It's a little bit more on the primitive side, and I want to either use these or the anchor, and this is my stash fabric that I got. It is Tin Roof by Weeks, and I love how this looks. It looks like an old gray flannel jacket, but some of these are so pretty on here. I really love them. So let me flip this. So look at this. There is some more pinks and blues that I'm missing that I don't have yet. So I do want to end up with the whole collection because I think these actually have quite the potential. But it is definitely, look, see this? This is one of the things they tell you about linen thread, that you will have little lumps and bumps in it. It's not like a smooth thread. So if you can't handle lumps and bumps, this is not the thread for you. But if you're stitching, if you would be stitching something like the Ada Davis that Kathy is stitching right now, she was stitched with linen thread. So it's kind of cool. So those are that. And now we're going to, oh, it's winding. Now we're going to the other extreme, and I got some of the, I wanted to see, you know, how, I'm sure everybody remembers these. I had some of the Krynic Silk Moiré, and I still have some, and was going to get rid of them, and I haven't decided yet, and I stay some of the old, when Krynic manufactured the Silk Moiré threads. So I do have, you know, some of those, but that Swaddle is no longer made by Krynic, so they have their own thing. But I prefer these to the little new pool skeins. And oh, look at those colors. Oh wow, those are so pretty. And it's a spun. It's not a filament silk, it's a spun silk. So spun silk is a filament silk is like the beginning of the cocoon. You get like all the good stuff in one big long thread. This is sort of like card it together like wool, and you make a nice strand. Still really strong, but that's why it's also not quite as expensive like some of the other ones. But there is a huge range of color, and this one right here is perfect for, this is some of those blue-greens that we see on some of those sampler, like the Helen, oh, my Helen sampler from Scotland. She was stitched like in colors like this. That would be so perfect for her. Oh, look at this, so yummy. Just love these. There's so many pretty yellows. So I'm going to get me some more and just see, because I didn't do a whole bunch of blues, just a few. Blue greens, I got some browns, got some oranges, just to see. But they also have a really nice thread part, so you can see there is the colors, and there's the greens. And Krynic's been around for decades, so they're you know, well known. They're like in every store with one of their threads or another, most likely the metallics. And then here's the milk paint ones, which I also like a lot. And it's the last of the milk paint section here. They're more muty. I love them. These are a little bit more on the pastel-y side, I'd say. But very, 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 very pretty. If you see them, and they come in 2.5 yard and 5 yard hangs, so that's also nice. That way you can see if you like, you know, or don't like. And it is, I think it's 6 ply, if I'm not mistaken. It's 5 meters. Focus. 5 meters, and it's Italian silk. So that's kind of cool. And let me see. It looks, if I remember correctly, it was 6 ply. Yeah, 6 ply. So, beautiful, beautiful stuff. I love these greens. These are so pretty. I could start stitching something with it. Yay. But I'm not going to. Not yet. Okay, so let me move this back in here. Some of you may recognize my little tray. So, couple of recommendations. Let me move over to here. So, stitching, and for those real quick that do knitting. So, if you can get your hands, this is Louisa Harding, and she is one of my favorite knit pattern makers. And her, this is like right here, it's like a feast. Her models are always so lovely. And the knits are so precious. I made this scarf, not in purple, more like a, I have to find it, it's packed up for winter. But some of these are so precious. So, good book with, love the bag. That may be in my future still. But, so this one has 16 different patterns in it. It's really nice. There's another really cute bag. This is really pretty too. And then this is a really big one. This is Shawls and Wraps. 21 elegant and graceful hand knit patterns. So this one is also just full of scarves, shawls. Very, very elegant. I like that one. Oh, fuzz, not now. So, very, very pretty. Let me pause for a second, take care of the little stinker. Okay, and good tip, if you're looking for back issues, you can get them for just cross stitch. They are, I got this through Amazon. It's the Annie publication, and you can get all of them. There is 2 more DVDs. They haven't arrived yet in the mail, but the early 90s to 2010 or something, like the whole, there's 3 DVDs, and they vary in price. This one was 20 something, and the other ones are 40 something, but you can get like the whole set of just cross stitch patterns, and there's some really good stuff in there. I found a few projects that I'm interested in, and some books on stitching. So this is Exquisite Miniatures, Brenda Keys. There is some cute patterns in here that I would not necessarily stitch in the colors shown, but ooh, I love that. How cute is that? So simple. But Well, these reflect the colors of the day. Let me see if I can find something that is right here, not a pattern, but there is some really cute stuff in here. That's actually really elegant. There's a cute little miniature. Let me see, is there more pictures? So secondary market, and it wasn't expensive at all. But there is, let me see, is there an index that says how many patterns are in here? Look at this, I love this one. That could be a definite for me, as could this. So pretty. No, doesn't say. Okay. And this is Feine Weißstickerei. And this is, you know, I talked about it briefly in one of my blog posts. So this is full of, well, it would be hard because it's in German, so wouldn't be of much use to you, but there is a lot of learning. This is an educational book on how to do it, and you know how they, I mean, they look at those faces, how they are stitched. How beautiful. This is the back, by the way. This is the front. Very exquisite. So, you know, it shows, so it goes through the whole, you know, how to start, and on the back there's a few, you know, like we've seen the samplers back in the day. I have one too somewhere, don't know where. So, I think I showed that to you. This one, another one, good to have. There is, look. There it is. Kathy and Molly were talking about, you know, the sunflowers, but this is another book that is chock full. Let me see, did they have like an index of really, really fun? I got it a while ago. I mean, this is not new. I got it because there were Teresa Vensler things in here that I wanted to stitch. Let me see. Don't see it right now. Anyways, so good book. Lots of fun. I remember this. I remember the magazine it was in. For those who like lots of information on samplers and what some of the motifs actually mean, this is a really brilliant book. So it alphabetically, there is sampler patterns in here, but it also teaches you about all the motifs. This definitely worth getting. And as they explain the motifs, you see like, and there's charts for samplers in here too. Lots of them. Little motif charts, sampler charts. A dictionary of the symbolic meaning behind old sampler motifs and reproduction of a Scottish sampler plus 4 new traditional samplers with complete graphs and instructions. This is very, very pretty. So, this is also secondary market and also reasonable in price, where, you know, where I've seen it. And then this is the last one. I've had this for a long, long time. And it is, let me move this scroll frame out of the way. It's going to have to go anyways when we're going to be doing samplerings. This is for those who like Art Deco. I love Art Deco. They have a few, you know, nice pictures, reading. I'm trying to see. the more unusual stitch for somebody who doesn't, you know, want to always stitch, you know, the mainstream stuff. There is sunflowers. This is how 70s is this. This is gorgeous. And they stitched this as a rug. I sort of have this on the radar to stitch as actually just a regular picture. Let me see. I get past all the charts. Don't want to do charts again by accident. Let's see. So many pretties. So anyways, good book. If you can get your hand on it. It is Art Nouveau cross stitch, decorative designs from the turn of the century, and it's Barbara Hammett. So, really good if you can get it. And now, on to, you've seen this. First, I want to do one of my newer ones. This is a sweet little Spanish sampler. Louisa, this is really difficult to read her first name. I haven't made that out yet. Last name is Gonzalez, and then there's stitches missing, and it's 1855. Anno de 18. Gonzalez is the last name, but it looks like Gennaro. I'll have to do some research on that one. And then here, this is also, looks actually better on camera than it does when you try to read it. So there is, I think these are all initials. And this is actually, I would think it is, because it's stitched 1855 and it came from California. California became a state, I think, in 1850. So this definitely, you know, when you look at some of the Spanish samplers, you know, from Europe, they're these huge borders, you know, zigzags, super elaborate. Whereas this has more like an English look about it. There is some mending that went on here, so. And it's not too badly discolored. But it's a really sweet. This will not take too long to chart. And I like that I have, you know, it's like Bernarda Bellin, who's actually, that was Portuguese Spain sampler. So this is Spanish from this side of the country. So I really enjoy this. Let me hold this up so you can see the basket. And you can see all the loosey-goosey stitches happening here. Not sure what he's doing there with the bird, like he's holding, it almost looks like he's playing the flute and the bird's sitting on it, but we know that's not the case. So anyhow, I'm going to pause so I can clear the space because we're going to open the little guy and then we're going to have a bigger one too. Okay, so this one is 1852. Yeah, 1852. It's a little difficult to see. But it is in a totally wrong frame. I'm not even saving this frame. It's so not right. This looks like something plasticky from the 50s. So it shouldn't be, hopefully, too complicated to get her out since it's a newer frame. And she needs a little bit of room. You can see she is up there quite squished. And this is definitely probably going to be easier to see when she's open. It's in a little bit of a rough shape. interesting. Usually these triangles you can wedge out pretty well. Okay, they have more in there than I thought. Okay, let me pause and grab these real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if I can get this out. I may have missed one here or there. Some of these actually went through the fabric. Oh, and they taped her to the glass. Oh, that's lovely. What's going on here? Oh, I missed one. There we go. Ew. Okay. So let's get this off. It's all garbage. And yes, look at you. All taped up and ready to go to the ball. That's actually good that that's coming off so easy. And she's... Eee. Here we go. Tape removal. And they do here. That's actually nicely sewn. Is there a peeking spot? No. No peeking. Well, I assume, no, there's, see, some of this stuff, this paper from the frame is stuck. So, let me grab my little board. This is simple, but yet really pretty still in its simplicity. That way I can hold it up a little better. There we go. So, yeah, there is, I'm probably going to have to take that fabric off to see what's going on here because this is one of the more little raggedy. That's why it came with the bear. They wanted to get rid of it and get so many, and the incentive was buying the bear. I mean, the whole thing was actually ridiculously cheap. So her name is Mary Gaspars, aged 12, and this definitely looks like with some stitches missing. Is it 1812 or 1852? No, that's got to be a 552. And then there is, like, this is wool, this is silk, down here is silk. So this probably was really pretty when she did this, and it's has been let go, needs to be brought back. So that's what we're gonna do. So let me clean up this here real quick. That waste bin. Hey, shoo! Hey, shoo! Excuse me, I'm sorry. bring out the big pretty one. And that one has me interested because, well, of course, because I bought it, it has me interested. But the glass is so dark, it almost looks like it's tinted. You'll see what I mean. But she is a beauty, an absolute beauty. And it is old, old, old. Haven't been able to find, I'm going to have to take it out because this glass is extremely thick. And this is like original old glass. It has like the bubbly speckles in. But I found this really cool. And the whole board I'm going to keep and put back, just not right on the sampler. Sampler work by Janet Watt, grandmother of Mrs. A.M. Callender. Janet Watt was married December 4th, 1794. Her husband's name was Robert Hugh. So, even if there is no date on it, you can still, if she was 90, 1794. So this was the early 1800s. And it is so pretty. And I'm assuming for all the bunny lovers. So I want to flip this because this, as you can see, is all new nails. So somebody had a quick look-see to see what's going on inside. And I think I don't even have to pause the camera, or at least I hope I don't. Well, maybe... Maybe I spoke too soon. There's one, because there's not that many. Two. That side's free. Yeah, they did minimal. Probably was a lot more in the frame. But this piece of wood, I need to save that to get put back on the back. Because you can see somebody tried to remove it, but it came off. So 1794, if she was 10 or 12, would be 1804, 1806. Wow, this one is quick, quick, quick. Never had one this easy. Must be my lucky day. That other one was harder than this, but I want to reuse all the frame and everything to put her back in properly later on. But of course she needs museum glass because this glass is no protection for her. She's mounted on the wood as expected. So let me carefully get this out of the way. Oh, yeah. Guess what, guys? I have tons of work again. I knew it was too easy. So, what's going on? Okay, well, guess I'm pausing after all. Okay, so, this was actually better than expected. So she was mounted on this piece of fabric, and I don't even want to move this. There is so much dust in here. It did like plumes of Linus cloud dust, but all I had to do is cut along the sides and, get her out. So that was much, much easier than trying to take out all the nails. So, let's take a look. So, some of the things that are fairly obvious, what's speckles? Like the light color you see is her silk. This is, you can probably see down here better with this. See how vibrant the silk is? Compared, like here you see it next to her other thread. And this is not wool, and if I were to guess, it looks like linen thread. So let me flip her to the back. She is actually not that much different. I mean, the orange, I actually prefer the front red over the orange back, but that's pretty much, the pinks are still good. They're not that different. This has a little bit more yellow than here. The birds are not that different, but regardless, let me get her back to the front. There's obviously some loss here, fabric gone. She was a little bit, you can see the wobbly wavy, she was starting to warp, and I'm assuming this was not the greatest for the threads of the fabric. So, oh, age 14. So this was 18, right? 1794. And 10 is 18, yep. 1818 if she was born in 94. So the upper alphabet goes right, you know, the little alphabet stops at W. And at the bottom, all these W's, you know, indicative of Scottish samplers, you know, all the initials, definitely colors of Scottish samplers. They love doing the initials, and they also love doing alphabets like this. This is so, so pretty. Oh my goodness. I could see this stitched in actually beautiful silks. This is gorgeous. The border is very pretty too. But some of these letters are just fantastic. So she did, like, they're not all the same color. So most of them are this, but she threw a pink one in there. And then she has like a couple of them down here with the blue. And then this is, even though it looks blue on the front, it looks more beigey on the back, purpley. So, and I love her three bunnies in the middle. And of course the peacocks, famous, famous. They always stitch them like that in Scotland. That's just how they do them. So, we're ending on a note of beautiful Janet Watts, 1818, with her spectacular sampler. Love it. That is just glorious. I think this is my second Scottish one, if I remember correctly. Okay, guys. See you later. Love you all. Bye.